press secretary during 9/11. He's also a Fox Business contributor. Ari, good evening. Wonderful to see you. The stories that we're hearing, the reports that we're getting, that the Taliban are blocking the checkpoints, that we can't guarantee people's safety as they try to exit and get to the airport. They are harassing. They are beating. Jake Sullivan did not say yesterday that it was like this. He said that it was more orderly, that things were getting better. But in fact, it seems like things are getting worse. Time is running out as we approach that August 31st deadline. And you heard the Joint Chiefs today. You heard press conference at the State Department today. The president decided to talk about COVID and vaccinations. Your thoughts as a former press secretary of how this is being handled?
This is distressing. I mean, I just cannot understand how the United States of America is in the position now of begging for the mercies of the Taliban. We have lost our military leverage because we don't have sufficient troops or sufficient air force in the region. And now what we have to hope for are the tender mercies of the Taliban at the checkpoints. And we have to hope that they don't turn around and launch attacks at the Americans at the Air Force Base. We are now an island surrounded by no one other than hostiles at that Air Force, at that military, at the Kotli Harzai Air Force airport. I cannot understand how America got to this position, except for the fact that Joe Biden has just washed his hands of it, and he said the only thing that's important is to bring the troops home, and he's just checked out on how to do it or what the consequences are.
And you heard him in that soundbite there, essentially saying that chaos was priced into this equation, that there was no other way to do it. Well, President Trump was on Fox News last night and Mornings with Maria this morning. He outlined several strategies of how his administration would have carried it out if they were in charge, and it would have been a very different operation.
Jackie, we need to talk about what he just said in that snippet you showed in this interview with George Stephanopoulos. When he said chaos was baked in, why didn't he previously tell that to the American people? Why in July, when he was asked at a news conference where he said, I really don't want to take questions on Afghanistan, it's a 3-day weekend, why didn't he at that point say that this was likely going to be the outcome? Why instead did he say, the Afghan army is 300,000 strong? No, they're not going to melt away. No, they're going to be fine. I have faith, I have confidence in the Afghan army. That's what he told the American people then. And now he says chaos was always baked in. And understand, this is not garden variety chaos. This is torture. This is a return to the medieval ages of the Taliban and the thuggery, the brutality, the repression, the backwardness that they impose on all under their thumb. This is not just something to dismiss as chaos.
Well,
this is created. It's created by Joe Biden in the manner in which he's withdrawn.
It was also shocking to hear him on Monday, to your point about the Afghan army, essentially throw them under the bus and say, we're not going to help you fight if you're not going to stand up and fight. Well, they have fought, but the situation is larger than what's happening on the ground there. Let me ask you this. I understand the reasons behind leaving. Again, as a former press secretary, promises have been made that we would. But why wouldn't we consider leaving a small presence there to continue not nation building, as President Biden said on Monday, but to keep a small presence, to not destabilize the region? Right now, giving Afghanistan back essentially to the Taliban and Al-Qaeda puts us in jeopardy when it comes to Russia, when it comes to China, when it comes to Iran, and all the proxies in the region.
Look, in October of 2001, when President Bush announced that we were going to counterattack in Afghanistan, I never in my wildest dreams as a spokesman thought we would still be here 20 years later. And what's happened since then is the American presidents of both parties got tired of making the case to the American people why Afghanistan was important, why it was important to have even a small number of troops there. But I will say this, I just heard President Trump, former President Trump, say this. The sequence should have been you get the civilians out, then you get the equipment out, then you get the military out, and then you bomb the hell out of everything that remains of the forts and everything we left so the Taliban don't get their hand on it.
Yeah.
You know, he's right about that. And it just looks like Joe Biden only wanted to get the troops out, and he just said whatever and other consequences happen. And that's irresponsible. It's beyond irresponsible. So I think you had a combination of presidents who were tired of making the case that we could stay, we should stay. I think you could have made the case. It's like Germany or Japan. There's an interest in staying for decades. I don't know that I would have supported that, but I would have been interested in hearing a president make that case. None were willing to make the case anymore.
Yeah, we're going to have to...
Got finished hearing the Secretary of Defense confirm what I have always said on this channel, and people have talked about me and scolded me as if I'm just some type of alien or some stuff. It makes no difference. I'm a 10-year veteran. It makes no difference. I told y'all as Americans, America don't give a damn about you. They don't give a damn about you. And the proof is in the pudding. I just heard the Secretary of Defense say that we don't have the capability to go and get large numbers of people. Now, read between the damn lines. In other words, we don't have the capability, we don't have the stomach to go and get Americans over there in Afghanistan. Our country, the present leadership, the Biden administration, put word out to the Americans that is on the other side of the checkpoint where the Taliban is ruling everything, said that they have made an agreement with the Taliban to let Americans buy their checkpoints and let them get to the airport, and then they said we would take care of the Americans from there. You think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. There are thousands of Americans over there, and they are terrified and scared half to death. You think that they're going to move from the position that they're in right now to go and trust some Taliban who is shooting off into the crowds, who is beating women and children right now? And they're supposed to, because you speak English and you have an American accent and you are their enemy, but they're supposed to just automatically turn benevolent and say, oh, you're American, you can go right on by. Man, you people something else. Y'all just heard it. I heard it. I heard it myself from the defense secretary. We don't have the capability. We don't have the resources to go get large numbers of Americans. Now, what do y'all think? Now, what do you think? What are you going to do now? That Pastor Dowd has been right once again. I told you, America as a country, they don't care nothing about you. The only thing they care about Americans is this, is how much taxes they can take away from you. Because remember, the government can't produce anything, it can only take. And how long is the American public going to continue to keep trusting these politicians? See, I'm under no illusion whatsoever at all. Wow. But I guarantee you, if it was Bill Clinton's daughter, Chelsea, and she was over there, I guarantee they send the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. What you want to bet? They'll send them all out. Yeah, they will. They will send them out in force. Amazing, isn't it? This is a lesson learned, America. What you got in your mind, what they call America, it ain't America. It's only a dream that they preach and teach to you and all of us in public food system. Now you're looking at the reality of it. America has a chance to put a footprint out there, and guess what? They ain't stepping, they ain't doing it. They will not do it. And Biden, still blame shifting, still putting forth the finger, still trying to dodge everything and stuff, just incompetent, just an incompetent buffoon. America, huh? What America do you think